Welcome, everybody, to another episode of 8192 The Truth. This is Joel D. Supernaw, and I want to apologize to you guys. Kevin and I have different schedules. He's very, very busy. It's winter time, and it's been kind of tough getting together on a regular basis to give you guys really, really good content. Another problem that I have is that I do short pods, 15 to 20 minutes, a few times a week, and I send them to Kevin, and he doesn't always post them. So I want to apologize to you. I want to give you some. I want to entertain you tonight. And I want to figure out a way that Kevin and I can get on the same page to kind of deliver on what we originally promised. Again, I take responsibility on my end, and I believe we'll be able to work this out and start giving you guys regular good content on a regular basis. This episode, I want to what's it called? Dedicate it, or I get a couple shout outs to Spoils of Truth on Twitter and JD Mulligan. Guys reached out to me. We're like, hey man, come on, we need some pod. So I'm going to actually let Spoils of Truth structure this podcast. His first question or topic was Oprah running for president. I'm not a political guy. I'm not a political guy. I'm a really, really basic guy, and I struggle with my own world so much. It's hard for me to come outside of my own box. I'm on this planet 51 years, so I have some opinions. My opinion is, yeah, she's got enough money and enough popularity. I mean, Donald Trump won the presidency. I imagine she could. I mean, I have no idea. I have no idea. I try to accomplish what's in front of me, and when I get distracted, it's hard enough for me to accomplish my immediate goal sets without spending too much time on things that I know nothing about. Oprah being president, that seems crazy to me. Donald Trump is president. That seems a little bit crazy to me. Again, he has a big following. You know, I'm not a Trumpy. Economy seems to be doing well. When I'm making money, the economy seems to be doing well. And when I'm not making money, the economy seems to suck. That's how most of us feel. I'm nobody. I'm just a guy that has been on this planet a long time. I'm nobody. I'm nobody, and that's part of. I believe that's part of my appeal is the fact that I'm nobody. So that topic, Oprah running for president, okay, I guess. I mean, we'll see. I mean, it was great theater. I mean, Trump's presidency in itself is great ratings. It's great ratings. I think he just called some other countries, or he got caught calling other countries shithole countries. I mean, that's really, really bad thing to say, but it won't affect him at all. JD's second, or Spoils of Truth's second question was Chael versus Rampage. This is really, really simple. It really, really is simple. Chael can win this fight if he wants to, if he truly wants to. There's a great unknown about fighting somebody that you've never fought before. A huge, huge unknown. Chael's going to win this match. He's going to win this match being a wrestler. Rampage, the problem is Rampage is going to outweigh him by so much. And let me speak mostly on wrestling. I know quite a bit about it. I did it for a number of years. Was pretty good at it. When you wrestle another really good wrestler that you've never wrestled before, in the first position, the first not grappling, the first exchange, when you tie up with the guy and feel what he's got, there's usually two things that happen. Usually you're like, oh man, I got this. and you have this huge sense of relief. The second one is, oh shit, I'm in for a battle. Normally, if these guys were fighting at the same weight class, I would say Chael would have a chance to experience that. He would have a chance to get his hands on him. And Chael is such a better wrestler. Chael's such a great wrestler that he doesn't know it. And I'll further the argument in terms of MMA wrestling, but overall wrestling. I mean, Chael could have been an Olympian. He could have been an Olympic champ. Chael's biggest problem was his inner belief system. I think he was always trying to show everybody else that he was great at something that he was great at. And Chael's had a phenomenal career. If Chael makes this a wrestling match and he just decides, I'm going to beat Rampage in a wrestling match, Chael wins this fight. And I know there's a lot of variables, but those variables don't matter. Chael might get dropped. He might eat an uppercut and get dropped. That's just going to put him in a scrambling position, whether it's a scrambling for a takedown or scrambling back to his feet. If he doesn't want to get knocked out, he will not get knocked out. I can guarantee you that. Chael can win this fight if he makes it a wrestling match. This seems real simple to say when you're fighting in a space as big as an octagon. It is a very big space. But again, you go back to the old days of Team Quest in the back of the dealership when it was just some guys getting ready to fight for fun, for a little bit of money, but mainly to see who was tougher. The first thing we always talked about was closing the distance. Let's close the distance. It's the same thing. Close the distance. Close the distance as fast as you can. Chael's great at closing the distance. You know how he does it? He walks right to the guy and starts fighting. His pressure is phenomenal. So if Chael wants to win this fight, he makes it a wrestling match. He makes it ugly. He wears him down. He weathers the storm. He decides that he wants it more than Rampage. He decides that he's tougher than Rampage. I like Chael being a plus 135 underdog. I can tell you that. That's a live dog. Chael will operate better as an underdog as opposed to a favorite. Getting off track a little bit here, I'll get back to the rest of Spoils of Truth's show. You know who's another live dog right now? Stipe. Stipe is plus 155. He is the champion of the world. He has beat everybody in his way. He's knocked out the last 5 guys, I believe, in the first round. He is a great wrestler, and he's a goddamn fireman. He's a goddamn fireman. If you think for one single second he's scared of Ngannou, you're out of your mind. This is a guy that runs into burning buildings. He runs into burning buildings, and he is chomping at the bit. That guy is a competitor in the 10th degree. That guy he should be one of the biggest stars, not only in the sport, but all of sports. This is a guy that is a champion of the world in the toughest sport. He's the toughest man on this planet. And he also is a full-time fireman. That's an amazing story that I mean, I'm a Stipe guy. I'm rooting for him, but let's just talk. Let's just talk betting. He's a live dog at plus 155. Get your money in on Stipe. The next point of interest for Spoils of Truth is Mir or Fedor versus Chael. Which one would I prefer? It doesn't matter. Mir's going to beat Fedor. I believe Mir's going to beat Fedor. I think Fedor is done, and nobody has shown the ability to just walk through Frank Mir. I mean, I think Brock did, but in terms of Mir being a true professional fighter, and he's a big guy. Yeah, I think Mir wins that fight. Who would I prefer? It doesn't matter. If Chael gets on point, truthfully, if he gains momentum and gets on point and shuts out all the, I talk about being selfish. I talk about myself needing to be selfish to succeed. Chael's going to need to be really selfish for him to win this tournament. I hope that happens for him. I hope that he does that. I hope he gives himself a true opportunity to compete at his best, because Chael's got a very good chance of winning this tournament if he competes to his best. It's real simple, or it's simple for me. So I don't think it matters who I would prefer. I would prefer Fedor. I would prefer Fedor. I don't think it's going to be Fedor. I would prefer Fedor. I think Fedor would be an easier fight. Lad update. Lad's such an amazing kid. Lad just ran a 7:10 mile. That's not the greatest mile in the world, but Lad's really not on a regular training program. He should be. I have to steer the ship from afar. I regret that. I can't wait to change that. I will change that in short order. But the fact that he could go run a 7:10 mile truly without training that much shows me that he's capable of doing great things physically. I know that. So, Lad's update is great. He's getting his braces off next month. He's happy about that. He's becoming a young man. He's so amazing. He is so amazing. We lose track of success. It's so hard for me to, I still worry about how Lad's going to do this and Lad's going to do that. And, is he getting bullied? He's getting picked on, this, that, and the other. Lad's just fine. But the fact is, Lad's worked so hard to get to where he's at. He mentioned to me, I'm always, God, I'm so proud of you. You've come so far, and da. And he says, I'm so sick of hearing that. I hear that all the time from people that won't even include me in their circle. Meaning, the kids have come up. He's been in the Westland School District his entire life. The kids know that he was autistic. Lad's got some quirks. Kids they've got their own problems. They're maturing at their own pace. So they know that he's done an amazing job. So the kids will be like, "Oh, Lad, you're awesome." And Lad's like, "Hey, can we just hang out?" He says he's so sick of hearing people tell him how awesome he is when they won't even include them in what he's doing. I know Lad's going to be extremely happy and successful. He's got a great soul. He's an amazing story. I miss him dearly. I will rectify this in short order by August 9th. We'll see if he makes the baseball team. Then he won't be able to come out and spend as much time with me. That'll be a little bit harder. But we're under 6 full months, or close to, or under 7 full months before I'm right there back on his side. An old school story. an old school story. I have so many of them. One of my favorite, and again, you know, the the back bay of USA Auto was, it was crazy. We put some mats down. My buddy, my best friend Chris Lauschie, foot swept me and almost broke my neck. So I went out and put $1,000 worth of insulation underneath those mats, and then I said, "Hey Randy, you need to pay the rest." So he put $500 the very first night. I believe that insulation is probably still under those mats. We're talking 16 years later. So I guess a story that I like is Sundays at before. I mean, Team Quest had a name, Team Quest, but it wasn't a gym. It wasn't a gym for God, I think over a year. And what Randy used to have is on Sundays he would have open gym, and the reason he did that was for so he could get people to come and train with him. He was trying to get people to train with him because he was always training for a championship fight. Well, this was, and so I started training with the guys, and I started getting, competitive, where I could compete with these guys. And I was the biggest guy, so I would go with Randy all the time. Well, one day on Sunday, he comes in and he's training for one of his championship fights. I don't know which one. And instead of grappling, he wants to get rounds in on his feet. So I go with him the first time, the first 5-minute go, and we're going for a few minutes, and he starts beating the death out of me. Beating me up, not like, Randy wants to beat me up. He can beat me up. I can do the best I can, but he's going to beat me up. And he starts beating me up. He starts beating me up like it's a fist fight. And it gets, finish up that round. And I'm like, what was that? I'm thinking, what was that about? So I go with somebody else. I'm figuring, okay, that's it. I'll ask him after the practice what that was all about. So I go with somebody else. I figure I'm done. He's gonna do 5 rounds. He's not gonna go with me again. So I do another round with somebody, and he grabs me for the 3rd round. Again, he beats me up. I'm like, whoa, okay, okay. 4th round comes on. I go with somebody else. I go with another partner, and I'm done at this point. But I'm also kind of pissed. This is my buddy, and I'm a car dealer. I'm not trying to fight. I'm just there having fun. And 5th round comes, he picks me again. He says, "Come on, let's go." And Randy, if Randy says you go. So he puts it on me again. He beats me up. So 3 out of 5 rounds, he beats me up. So end of the practice, he's sitting over on the wall, and I go cool off a little bit. I gotta ask him what the hell. I'm thinking, what in the hell did I do? I go over to him and I'm like, "Hey, bro, what in the hell was that all about?" He said, "You caught me clean with a jab in the 1st round." And instantly I just smiled and I was like, "Okay, good. That's worth it. That's worth it. I'll go ahead and take that beating." And as a matter of fact, I'm telling the story out of the hundreds of rounds that he beat me up. I'm only telling you the story about the one that he copped to me stiffing him with a hot jab. So there's your old school Team Quest story. Again, I have hundreds of them. I want to talk a little bit about the Major League Baseball free agent season right now. It's the slowest it's ever been. And what that means is these guys aren't signing 5-year, $200 million contracts. The reason that is, there's a lot of reasons for it, but the reality is the owners at some point or somehow got together and said, hey, if we want to continue being owners, we have to shorten the leash on these contracts or we're going to end up hanging ourselves. So a guy like Jake Arrieta, who's trying to get 5 years and $180 million, he hadn't been signed yet. Nobody's been signed over 3 years. I think this is very, very good for baseball. Jake Arrieta already right now has more money than his entire family will ever spend in his life. So you ask yourself the question, when is enough enough, and why can't I get out of the money thing? If Jake signs for 3 years for $60 million, which I'm sure the Cubs will pay him tomorrow, again, he's going to have more money than he ever thought he'd make in his life, and he's going to be, his family, his whole lineage is going to be set for life. But because the egos, because it's what everybody else is making. So Jake believes he deserves X because he's done X. It doesn't have anything to do with what he needs. It has everything to do, and I use Jake for an example because he's a Cub. I'm a Cub fan. I'm following this because I want them to sign Jake. I hope they do. But it looks like these owners have reeled it back, and they've decided, hey, guys, you're not getting 6 years guaranteed money anymore. We can't do it. We have to slow things down. I think that's good for the game of baseball. It also shows us how underpaid the UFC fighters are. How absolutely underpaid the UFC fighters are. And the only way they can change it is by stop fighting. They have to stop fighting across the board. It's ridiculous to me to see people fight 5 rounds, main event, in a pay-per-view, and not get $1 million, $750,000. It happens all the time. These guys are fighting for 75 and 75 in main events. They have no rights. A guy, very, 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 very few professional fighters are ever going to be retired from professional fighting. And the worst part of that is what we're going to see is these guys have major problems in their late 40s, 50s, and 60s. We're going to see a lot of that. There's just no way you can't. Most of it's going to come from practice, from sparring too much. But the guys that are fighting wars, man, they should have an opportunity to live for years on the money that's come in. I mean, they already sold the company for $4.8 billion, and there's only a handful of fighters that can stop today and never have to fight again. So Major League Baseball, there's two sides of the ship. These Jake Arrieta has had a couple good years. He would be the equivalent of maybe a Frank Mir. Well, Frank's still fighting for a reason. Okay, Frank's still fighting for a reason. Chael's still fighting for a reason. All those guys are still fighting for a reason, not for love of the game, to stack that dough because they need it. You look at Vitor Belfort. Vitor Belfort comes out and says he's not fighting again unless they pay him $10 million. So right away, Vitor has priced himself out. Nobody's ever going to pay him $10 million to fight. And his idea is to go open up a bunch of gyms worldwide. Again, does this guy not know the UFC opened up a bunch of gyms. I guarantee they want to close those things down, and the only reason they're still going is out of pride. Those will eventually get shut down. IMG, ABC, or Endeavor, I think they now have a different name. They will eventually shut that system down. The last speaking point I have today is Jason Parillo smacking the shit out of Cyborg before she fights. That's stupid. That is really, really stupid. I don't want to see a man get slapped in the face a whole bunch before he fights, let alone a woman. A man punching up a woman is ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense, and it's not good for the sport. So, guys, if you ever become a semi-famous boxing coach, don't beat up a woman before she goes and fights, no matter what she says. That's all I got for you guys today. I hope this was entertaining. Peace.